What is?
I'll say Toy Story 3, at least, better than Tarzan.
Oh,
Hey.
whoa!
Lil Wayne has been a giant.
He's an icon.
Is Lil Wayne a giant right now?
We on a roll. Like we did good in college.
That's Big Sean.
I know.
Okay.
What's the Scooby-Doo?
Peekaboo.
Coming after you.
Peekaboo.
Gotta solve that mystery.
Hey.
I see you, Scooby-Doo.
Peekaboo.
Coming after you.
Peekaboo.
What's new, Scooby-Doo?
What's up, guys? It's out the window again.
What's new?
It's your boys, funTimeZaHead.
We're back with another podcast here. Got some topics today. I think our first one is that new Kendrick album dropped last night.
Mm-hmm.
We did a full reaction to it. That should be up before this video goes up. So check that out if you haven't.
No promises.
Yeah, no promises. But some stuff happened yesterday. So yesterday was Friday. That's when it dropped. Today, some stuff has happened. Specifically, the biggest one is Lil Wayne has responded.
Oh, no. I did not know that.
With the song or with the statement?
With a statement.
Okay.
Just a statement.
Not a song?
Potentially a song. He threatened a song.
You don't threaten a song, you release a song.
I should have had this.
Why?
No, this is... Yep, and I saw a bunch of people on Twitter already criticizing Lil Wayne.
There's still a
over
dead
this.
corpse named Drake in the music sphere,
It's a warm body still.
and he dares to come for the king.
Yep.
So it begins.
So this is Lil Wayne's statement. Man, what the fuck I do? I just be chilling, and they still come for my head. Let's not take kindness for weakness. Let this giant sleep. I beg you all. No one really wants destruction, not even me, but I shall destroy if disturbed. On me, love.
Okay.
Nah. You don't want that.
Lil Wayne has been a giant.
He's an icon.
Is Lil Wayne a giant right now?
No.
I see on Spotify, I see features of him like every month, every couple of weeks. I can only assume that that's just keeping his pockets full of just like, selling a feature here and there, which I don't blame him. But if that's where you're at in your career, are you the one to go after the king?
Also, Lil Wayne's never been in a beef before. It's like the one thing with his career, he's always tried to stay out of beefs. He's talked about he doesn't want beef. So, and not to mention, it's I don't know. He's like looking at it from the wrong angle. 'Cause the way I took it in that song was Kendrick more so saying like, why are people like mad that I got the Super Bowl, and like saying Lil Wayne deserved it and making this like a big deal. And then why did like Lil Wayne feed into it a little bit? But then for Wayne to come out and just be like, oh, Kendrick wants problems with me. It's like, it didn't really sound like Kendrick has like an issue with you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just think, there is the idea of like, you don't want to wake a sleeping giant at the same now, because there are plenty of MCs through rap history where it's like, I wouldn't want to fuck with LL Cool J lyrically now today. You know what I mean? If you're on a certain stature in the game right now, but it's not Kendrick that you want to beef with. You know what I mean? His status is beyond where you're at right now, and even beyond the relevancy portion, skill wise as well. He can go bar for bar. Also, just as you guys have said already, like Wayne is not a rap beef kind of guy. He's never really gone at people like that before. I don't anticipate it would end well for him. And and I don't know if I don't want to say the skill set isn't there anymore, the artistry isn't there anymore, but it's been dwindling for the better part of the last decade, and we all know that to be true.
Lil Wayne has had his moment.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne can still rap. Lil Wayne still puts out like very good lyrical, ability, whatever. But he's just not at that point anymore. And how this all started was with the Super Bowl stuff, obviously. And people went a little too far with the Super Bowl stuff, in my opinion. They were like just taking clips of Lil Wayne, like, you know, at his worst moments and saying like, this guy can't do the Super Bowl. But there were clips of those that were recent.
Yeah.
And like, it's just not Super Bowl. Like, it's not Super Bowl worthy, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he can be one of those people that like guest features in a Super Bowl performance. He can come in for a track or two.
For sure.
You know, oh my God, it's Lil Wayne. Do you really want to see a full Lil Wayne Super Bowl performance? What would that even be?
It's also like all of Lil Wayne's like biggest songs are about like it's about fucking. Like those are his just biggest songs.
Yeah.
And they're not like, you know, like subtle.
I'm
like
on that good cushion alcohol. You know,
The Weeknd, you know, obviously The Weeknd had his Super Bowl and he has a bunch of songs about fucking, but they're like subtle, like background stuff. But then you get like Lil Wayne with Lollipop, and then you get like Miss Carter and stuff like that. It's just not. It's a little different.
Mrs. Officer wouldn't even be one of the ones played, but I get what you mean. Like even the lower tier hits kind of all sit around the same thing. And you're right, subtlety is out the window when it comes to Wayne. I mean, he did famously fuck a piano about 11 years ago.
I don't know if I heard about that. Sexual relations with the piano?
It's the start of I Am Not a Human Being too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fuck the piano, nigga.
Yeah.
I was picturing like
how
a physical, real version of that.
I mean, it's Wayne, so maybe.
It's very possible.
Oh, yeah.
Entirely possible.
He talks about sex so much, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, in that same track, I'm pretty sure he talks about going in the ocean getting shark pussy. In the same track, just like a minute before. He said, I'm in the ocean getting shark pussy. Sounds like some riff-raff shit.
Yeah, I'm Not a Human Being Part 2. Quick review. It's both the greatest album of all time and the greatest concept album of all time, and also one of the worst things I've ever heard.
Very quotable. Not for good reasons, though.
As a far more intelligible rap head has said before, if it's a concept album, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant album. The story of a man who has lost his mind. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Mike Seatown. Shout out. Yeah. Check out Mike Seatown.
Check him out.
His favorite line from that whole album was
Penis Colada.
Yeah, Penis Colada.
Penis Colada.
Thank you to today's sponsor, Penis Colada.
There was another thing that came from the Kendrick stuff.
We on a roll like we did good in college.
That's Big Sean.
I know.
Okay.
I just.
That's solid. That's solid.
No, it's not.
It stands up.
I just remembered it.
So there was another line. We didn't really talk about it in our reaction, but Kendrick says something about. Now I don't have the line up. It was something about like don't ever let a white comedian talk shit about black women.
Yep.
I noticed that.
Yeah. That was a reference to Andrew Schultz, who I think he was on Charlemagne's show or Charlemagne was on the show, and he was talking shit about, I forget who.
Kamala.
Was it?
I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't remember. It was either her or Meg the Stallion. It was one of the two. But basically, Kendrick is talking to Charlemagne in the quote, saying, like, you're a black man. Like, don't let this white comedian talk shit about, you know, our black women or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then Andrew Schultz replied today and said, is this guy too woke to understand a joke? So, just getting some responses coming out of this.
As a great man once said, I'm not woke, I'm just tired.
So as the days go on, we'll get more and more responses.
Well, beyond anything, if you know your best rebuttal to any sort of criticism or an argument is that you're woke, that's when you know you've got no real response.
Yeah.
Don't release a text file. Release an MP3. If you're gonna respond to Kendrick, put it in song format and release it. Yeah. If you type something up and post it, that means nothing to me.
Well, Snoop Dogg basically came out too and was like, "Yeah, I was wrong for like you know kind of halfway like sitting on the fence or whatever in that beef. I was wrong."
kind of co-signing the bullshit AI thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So he put out a tweet, said like, "Yeah, I fucked up, West or something like that."
They say I was off the edibles.
Yeah, he did. He said I was off the edibles.
That man knows how to take it. That's like,
Yeah,
Humility.
for sure. Yeah. Otherwise, I've seen Nas was promoting Kendrick's album. Oh, fuck. Now I'm forgetting who the other one was. Another big like 90s rapper was promoting Kendrick this morning too. But otherwise, it's like, yeah, Lil Wayne obviously didn't. None of these other people that were like talking shit throughout the Kendrick Drake beef promoting.
Cole ain't say something yet. He's been real quiet.
Yeah, of course. That's just how it is.
That's just how he is.
On Twitter, I saw J. Cole fans talking shit. They were like, J. Cole still has the best rap performance of the year. Like, shit like that.
J. Cole fans are insufferable.
The coal miners?
Is that really what they go by?
I don't know, but I heard it once. And it
miners?
stuck. Yeah. it applies.
Straight ass.
ooh.
I feel like a lot of J. Cole fans now are younger people.
Careful with that
They,
shit.
they should call themselves coal miners because they hide in the fucking dark
And they're
never to be seen by society.
they're digging for like excuses and shit. No, I heard that once. It was on Dead End Hip Hop. They called it. They said the coal miners are coming for you guys or something when they put out that KOD review.
I liked KOD too.
I hated that shit.
Yeah, we were on separate ends of that. I enjoyed that one.
I know. We want to go into our next.
Wet
topic?
Dreams a classic?
No.
It's a classic. It's a classic, y'all.
I'm not dying on this hill, but yeah, it's a classic.
Bam.
I disagree. I think Forest Hills Drive is a classic, but like Wet Dreams as a song,
It's like maybe the second most distinct and noticeable song on that classic album you just mentioned.
that doesn't make it a classic song.
I'd say it's a classic. Like Wings by Macklemore is a classic. Like I'm not saying that there's only a few in the world that are classics, but if we're keeping a wide net, you're catching that.
I keep mine tight. I don't have a wide berth of classics.
That's what she said.
Well, you heard it here first. Camera keeps it tight. Yeah, hit us with the CamCam.
Okay. If we want to talk some politics stuff, first thing, I'll lead with the more important thing. Matt Gaetz stepped down as Attorney General.
Wow.
You guys hear anything about that?
I did.
I saw about it a very small victory in a sea of losses.
A sea of blood.
Yep.
Basically, so there's this House Ethics Committee investigation that was going on with Matt Gaetz, investigating him potentially sleeping with a 17-year-old. I don't remember if that was the case of him of having her travel across state lines to him too. I think it was though. But a second 17-year-old was reported to get involved in the investigation. And the House Ethics Committee shut that down earlier this week too. But so they weren't going to release it. But then obviously someone got a hold of it and threatened to leak it. I think CNN called Matt Gaetz and told him that they were going to leak it. And within 45 minutes, he resigned from AG.
And so now they don't leak it?
Yeah. That's what they do all the fucking
Politics,
time.
my guy.
It drives me insane.
All right,
though.
let's just sit on it. That's the best thing to do here.
Dirty game. Yep.
They did that shit with the JD Vance report too. And then a independent reporter, I think it was Ken Klippenstein, I think that's his name, on Twitter, released it on Twitter and then got banned on Twitter for it. Even though that's like what Elon like came into Twitter promoting, was like, you can just do this.
You know he's a hypocrite.
I know, but yeah, he's back on Twitter though. But he was banned for like 2 weeks for that shit. And none of CNN, MSNBC, they all had that same report, and none of them released it. And it was a report of Trump's campaign. When campaigns search for their VPs, they do investigations into them to see like their favorabilities, if they have like skeletons in the closet, all this shit.
Like it mattered much.
Yeah, well, he picked Vance because Vance is loyal.
Yeah.
But Vance had skeletons in the closet. Obviously, there was all the stuff Vance has gone back and forth with on Trump specifically. Like he called him Hitler, and now it says he didn't mean it, or he was like blind. He was blind to it from the mainstream media. But there was other stuff in that report. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it was like damning stuff. And this was from Trump's own team, and none of these CNN or any of them would release it. But yeah, they're doing the same thing again with this Matt Gaetz report. So it'll take them leaking it to some independent reporter again.
I'll be honest with you, when it comes to political news outbreaks like this about certain individuals, none of it is surprising or shocking anymore in our current political state and our climate for the last 10 years. I mean, you never want to become numb to it, because then you're just allowing things to happen, and then inevitably things are going to happen to you, because all this stuff affects us, right? We shouldn't just allow these types of despicable human beings to be running the country. But at the same time, it's almost not news anymore. It's barely news at all. If you're up to date on all these things, you're desensitized to it. You just know these are scummy human beings, and because the GOP doesn't care. The Trump administration doesn't care. They knew all these things ahead of time. They still employed them. It's only when it becomes overwhelming that they have to do anything about it to acquiesce, and that's going to be the greater future for the next 4 years and so beyond.
Pete Hegseth too. Now there's reports of him, at the very least, sexually assaulting a woman. That was a case a couple of years ago. But it's obviously back to the surface now. So we'll see what happens with that one too. But yeah, basically Matt Gaetz wasn't going to get confirmed by the Senate. There were already 4 Republican senators that were refusing to confirm him. And there were likely to be more if that report ever came to public. But basically Matt Gaetz just gets a pardon and gets to walk away.
Yeah. It's wild on many different fronts how people have proof of horrible acts committed by people and just sit on them. And it depends what the reaction is to them, and it depends on the timing. I feel like you should just straight up, if you have that, release it. You're complacent in it, very complacent if you're just sitting in on having that information.
Yeah. The other thing I had, this is more fun, was Emma Vigeland went on Piers Morgan.
Emma Vigeland, champion of the left.
Majority Report, same seater. Majority
Report co-host for many years. Political activist, all of that, social commentary. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. If you don't watch Majority Report and you're a leftist, what are you doing? Also, if you're on the right, I feel like Majority Report's
yeah, it's for everybody.
Yeah, you just watch it. But she went on Piers Morgan, and specifically, I guess we can go a little deeper into this too. I believe her name is Stephanie McBride. I think I could be wrong on that. I'm so sorry, but she's the first trans senator. Oh, not
yeah,
senator, House member.
Yeah, she's awesome.
The first openly trans member of Congress, we should say. And so there's a huge thing going on between her and I think her name's Nancy McBride, who's another House member. And Nancy McBride basically pushed this bill through that if you were, whatever you were born and assigned at birth, that's the bathroom you have to use. And that's now the rule on Capitol Hill for everybody, not just Congress people. So if you visit Capitol Hill, you have to use whatever bathroom you were assigned.
How would you even know? Like, first off, who's going to legislate that? How do you control every single bathroom and what someone uses? And for the most part, how are you going to know? Mm-hmm. You just got to start pointing to men and women and being like, "Hey, are you trans?"
Yep. Well, it becomes a huge thing where it's this is how stuff like this starts, where like witch hunts start. Amani Khalif, she was the Olympic boxer. Was it from?
I forget.
Okay. But regardless, she won the gold medal in her weight class. And she had these allegations come against her, and then it turns into this big witch hunt. And that's just how stuff like this happens. People are going to start pointing fingers at people and with no justification. That's how stuff like this starts to occur.
I'm curious if that boxer's lawsuit has gone anywhere or like started, because I heard that was going to be a thing and take him down. It is Sarah McBride and Nancy Mace.
Okay, that's off.
I feel like the whole like
Thank you, Jamie.
the whole like trans people using bathrooms and picking which one, or like deciding which bathroom they should use, it's just all based off a flawed idea of what being trans is. I feel like they're picturing like a linebacker in a wig when they picture a trans woman.
Mm-hmm.
And when you meet a trans woman and trans men in real life, you do not know off the jump.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
people are earlier in their transition. It's different for everybody, but like, it just shows their ignorance of like, they don't even know what, like, who these people are in real life. There's just like this idea they have in their head that's not really based on anything, and that's what they're responding to. So yeah, you get all these like nonsensical decisions because they're not talking about the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other portion of that is, I mean, just like so many things with trans rights, it's just another extension of gay rights. And for the better part of the last 40 years plus, bigots have basically been trying to say, hey, that whether it be trans people now, gays for the longest time, that they're all pedophiles and things like that. You know, it's just, it's the ultimate in terms of hate speech and pushing that narrative forward. And they've largely lost the argument against, the LGBTQ plus population for the most part. Gay rights have come so far, but now what's the next most weakest, most vulnerable group we can pinpoint and we can pick on?
Well, and gay rights are actually in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's definitely in trouble now.
I think there's 26 states. I could be off on that too, so I might want to double check. But there are a lot of red states that still on their books actively outlawing gay marriage. Obviously, the Supreme Court ruled that it was legal, but as soon as that, if it were to go away, it would just be illegal in like well over half the states in the country, or close to.
I've seen, they're called officiants, the like people who certify a marriage. There's a lot of officiants offering free gay marriages before, I guess it'd be January 6th of next year, but just like, yeah, no, I'm not going to charge you, slide through and we'll get it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But so Emma Vigeland went on Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan has kind of become the major debate show, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
Every night or whenever he does his shows, he has like 2 right-wing guests on and 2 left-wing guests on, and they just go at it. But and he always tries to play like he's in the middle, and he's not. And I fucking loved it because Emma went on the show and like just called him out on his bullshit. It was very cathartic.
I've seen political commentary person Mark Lamont Hill for years. He does well with debates, and he's been on television. He's been on CNN and everything else for years and stuff like that. He was recently on Piers Morgan. I didn't see him do as well. Like, it wasn't like he was wrong about things, but in terms of being able to sway the argument in terms of just the balance of power, Piers, when he doesn't like anything you're saying, he just tries to talk over you and interrupt you as much as possible. He literally does that every time someone comes with a good argument and has the fervor to basically challenge him and the other 2 other people on with fucked up views on the stage, and he does really good at just yelling over them until they stop. But this is like the best I've seen anyone basically be able to handle that whole environment.
Yeah, and I agree though. Like Kyle Kalinske was on there the other day. David Pakman was on there the other day, and she did better than all of them, to be honest.
Yeah, Pakman. I saw that one from like a month ago. Yeah,
he was just on there like
okay.
Yeah, a couple days ago. They got into it bad because Dave Rubin was actually on that too. Yeah, and Dave Rubin called Pakman like what do you call him, like smarmy or something like that? And it's like Dave Rubin's the smarmiest dude you could imagine. But no, Emma, she didn't let Piers ever get the final word. She constantly, like, anytime he would like try to talk over her, she would keep talking. And my favorite part was, I already said, but she just said like, all you conservatives, and yes, I'm lumping you in there with them, and Piers, and he never like fought it or anything, but and then he tried to accuse her. He basically said he wouldn't feel comfortable if she was in a bathroom with him. And she's like, why would you like accuse me of that? Why would you like say something like that? And he's like, well, you're lurking around in the bathroom. He's like, and she's like, who's lurking? Like, are you accusing the congresswoman, the trans congresswoman, of lurking in bathrooms? Is that something you're throwing on her? Like, why are you making like these claims? You're implying that people are being creepy in bathrooms, basically.
They're banking on this flimsy ideal, this flimsy notion of like basically sexual assault in bathrooms and stuff like that.
With a lot of these issues, when you really dig deep into the source of it, it comes down to individuals believing homosexuality or transgenderism are inherently like sexually deviant. It's like once you look into it, you realize, oh, they just think that like everyone in that spectrum is just like a devil, like from a sexual standpoint. And so yeah, the arguments and everything they do kind of makes more sense when you realize it's based off that flawed idea.
Well,
I see it with like skateboarding. Like there's people who think skateboarders are just like inherently amoral, so anything skateboarding related is seen as bad.
Was it 1970?
I mean, still a little bit. I see that not as strongly, obviously, as the other issues, but like, no one's getting mad at people riding bikes. No one's getting mad at like rollerbladers, really. But like,
people hate cyclists.
Oh well, for different reasons. For different reasons. Yeah. But like, I see a little bit of a parallel between like hating skateboarders and banning anything skateboarding related for no reason, and all the like queer and trans issues where it's like anything in that realm is just automatically bad.
You see skateboarders and so many people just think stoner or something like that.
They see queer people and think pedophile. Like it's the same mechanism.
There's a great documentary film about Rockford area skaters called Minding the Gap that came out around 10 years ago now.
Okay.
That basically delves into the life of skate culture in that general area. And basically how they're just the most regular dudes on earth possible. Nothing too extreme about them. They don't do wild and crazy things. They're just living their lives. And they love skating. Another thing about the whole bathroom thing is, even to take it out of the LGBTQ plus commentary portion of it, there's a push, generally speaking, of just making all bathrooms for men and or women. That's simple.
A lot of them already are.
And really the key thing is this, right? So many people have the idea of like, well, we can't be in the same space. Like, what do you think is actually going to happen? There's just this, it's this misnomer of fear of what can, but there's no statistical evidence that really backs up that like there would be just rampant sexual assault of women in bathrooms if men and women occupied the same space in the bathroom. It continues to put that binary wall up that doesn't need to be there between, men, women, whoever else. It's just non-existent, doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, this is like old too, and this has been the argument against it for a long time, but like sexual assault doesn't happen all that often in bathrooms.
And I was just about to say that next part that we all know, just like many things in terms of physical assault, it comes from people same thing with murder. All that stuff comes from a more intimate space.
But it's also the fact that if somebody was trying to sexually assault someone in a bathroom, they would just do it.
Yep.
They don't have to be trans to just walk into a bathroom. So it's just a dumb argument. It always has been. But it's kind of the same arguments that people were making for like segregation and stuff too. And she makes that claim too in that interview, basically, because she basically gets him to walk into the separate but equal argument, and then she says that, oh, separate but equal, Piers, and he moves on. That's where it ends. But yeah, it was just a brutal interview. She said it the next day on the show. She'll probably never get invited back on, but who knows? Piers kind of likes shit like that too.
Yeah, he likes all the fervor of it all. He likes the intensity, the animosity. And again, she kind of did a good job of like hitting them with that intensity, but at the same time being pretty logical with it. I think David Pakman also does a good job of being like, I'm not about to get as upset and riled up as you are in most cases.
He was, in the last one he did, he was actually just on there, just angry.
Just creating chaos.
Yeah, he was like, he was just making like, him and Dave Rubin were just going at it basically the whole time, but.
Oh, here's another small little win. Did you see California? It's became sanctuary.
Wasn't it already sanctuary state?
No, I don't think so, because I saw like a story about it.
I saw the Colorado mayor said that he will use local police to oppose mass deportation initiatives.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think it's the Colorado governor though. He's made some weird statements though.
I don't know about that, but mayor's one of the good ones.
Yeah, I think because the Colorado governor is like pretty sure he's ran as like a progressive and stuff as well. But now he's been talking about how he's like excited for RFK Jr. and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll see.
I think Colorado has a lot of like Eastern European immigrants.
Yeah.
I think like the makeup of the people that immigrate there is like from all over the world. I've also seen different things about like people researching Illinois to move to from the South and other red states. Like I've seen people like looking for recommendations for areas, but that seems like it's an idea of like let's move out of this red state into a blue one, and Illinois, Colorado, California are kind of like your big heavy hitters for that.
Yeah. And I've seen people start making this claim. These blue states got to start building houses. They got to start building places for people to live. Because that's why people move. That's going to be the number one reason people move out of California, out of Illinois, New York, all these places, is there's just nowhere affordable to live. If you look, like, all the people that move out of New York City and just across the water into New Jersey is, like, insane, just because it's, like, so much cheaper to live there.
There's also a climate migration is a thing now. Because of the significant changes in the climate, people are moving out of, like, hotter areas.
Yeah.
LA City Council made LA a specific sanctuary city.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess a couple years ago, though, California is a sanctuary state.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's now it's just the ultimate game of defense. We've known this now for the last 2 weeks, though. Everything now is about to be the ultimate game of defense, to prevent all the harm that's going to be caused and be done for the next 4 years. How many boundaries, how many walls can you put up to prevent the next administration from breaking them down and then harming people's lives?
Definitely the answer is to get ahead of it and be proactive. It's easy to sit on your hands and then complain about it afterwards. But yeah, trying to see what's the direction we're going in and getting 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of that is the move.
It's also one of these things where all these blue state governors, they're vying for the presidency, so they're all coming out and they're all kind of saying the same stuff as each other. J.B. Pritzker, Gavin Newsom, now I'm blanking on her name. Michigan.
Big Gretch?
Yeah, Gretchen
Big
Whitmer.
Gretch?
I'm
going to say it right now. Look at me, camera. All right, camera right here, boom, boom. I'm voting for Big Gretch if she's going for the big title in 4 years.
What if it's first? What if Bernie ran again?
Okay, that's rough, but I still love Big Gretch.
What if AOC ran? I don't think she's eligible.
All right. You're hitting me with the hard questions. I'm not ready for all of that. Big Gretch versus every other moderate random Democrat, though, including, people that are close to us in our general regions that we like enough.
What
No,
about Pritzker?
that's kind of what I was alluding to.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm still picking Big Gretch. We love Big Gretch here. Where's my Big Gretch?
What about Andy Bashir? He's the one I've seen most people going at now.
No, he's a pretty likable guy and everything else, and he's from the South, so he's got that level of like personableness. But no, I want to see Gretchen Whitmer at the top, ready for her to be Madam President.
Yeah.
I'm ready for you, Big Gretch.
What Tim Walz? Just run, man. Give it a go.
Man, can you imagine a Walls Whitmer?
Walz Whitmer?
Or a Whitmer Walls?
Yeah. Oh,
did you? Maybe you're about to go the same route I'm about to. There's reports that I saw like a few days ago that as of right now, like there's a decent bit of Democratic like momentum of Kamala running again in 4 years.
I saw, but
Yeah.
there's no way.
Why? I'll take a second GNX album, but I don't know if I need another Harris campaign.
Yeah, I'm good. Especially for her to have a new successful campaign, she would have to change a lot of her policy points. And so it would be, in 2020, she ran as like kind of a progressive. 2024 ran as like one of the most moderate Democrats we've kind of ever had, at least in our lifetime. And then in 2024, she would have to run as a progressive again.
The more I think about it, the pessimist in me says that's what the DNC would do.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so that was actually where I was going into, is that is probably the next big fight, is DNC chair. There's a lot of people vying for it, and there's like two picks right now that it's like, yeah, we want those two. One is the DNC chair of Minnesota, where Tim Walz is from. Did a bunch of great stuff there. They had a 1-seat majority in that house, and they passed all that stuff Tim Walz was always talking about, free school lunch for kids, sick leave, all that stuff he ran on. So they did all that, and then I'm blanking on the other one. But he was also, Sam Cedar was actually vowing for this guy a lot. He actually knows the guy personally, used to work with him. And he's like, this guy, he's been a progressive his whole life.
I think I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember his
Yeah.
name. I've heard him talk about it recently,
Yeah.
though.
Kind of similar story is the other one, though, in a, purplish state, and, has done a lot of good progressive stuff and isn't like some corporate hack. And that's what these two guys, makes them stand out over the other ones. I'm blanking on the DNC chairs, the current one too. But he's just a corporate hack. He's hopped around different corporations and stuff. And there's a couple other people in the mix too, and they're kind of in that same boat. So like, we really got to push for these two, and that stuff's gonna be like soon.
It's basically the fight for the future of the Democratic Party
Yeah,
as we know it.
yeah.
Do you think Bernie would run again?
I don't think he does.
Because I think even he would be like, ethically, I'm too old for it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, I don't think he would. Just partly that, but also because he's now lost 2 primaries, and like, you don't win.
He lost 2?
Yeah, 2016, 2020.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, right.
Would
So-
it be Martin O'Malley,
Yeah.
Ken Martin,
Ken Martin sounds like one of them.
Rahm Emanuel,
No.
David Axelrod? I don't think that's it.
Yeah, it might be those first 2. I know the Martin one though. I'm pretty sure that's the Minnesota one. Yeah. So we really got to push for those guys. That's the first step to getting somebody we want in there. So, you guys want a Big Gretch?
Big Gretch, by the book, by the way, true Gretch. I'm promoting Big Gretch. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of it. In fact, I'm not sorry. Big Gretch, we ready for you. 2028. Let's go. I just want to see her on a presidential ticket. I don't even care if it's for VP.
I'm really not excited for these primaries. Because I have a feeling for the presidential primary, it's going to be fucking Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, Gretchen Whitmer, Pete Buttigieg.
You're really not excited for any of those people, are you?
No. I think if those four people... With Pritzker and Whitmer, I would like... If that's who we get as our primary, that's who's on the top of the ticket, I'm like more okay with it. But God, like all these big name Democrats, and I know they're all going to run in this primary.
You not a Bashir person?
I like Bashir. I think he could. He doesn't have the charisma that those other four do either, though.
No, not at all.
But I would say he's more progressive than those four.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
So,
he does way more naturally a better job of doing what Kamala and everybody in certain Democrats want to try to do as far as appealing to middle America. He's very naturally able to appeal to middle America. I mean, literally his state and all the people in his state vote for him every single time, and then we'll also turn around and be like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump for everything else.
Well, he actually put out a statement too, kind of going over that. He's like, I have, my states they vote red every time, and but they'll turn around and vote for me because I give them roads, I provide housing, I do all of these things that they want. So then he was talking about how it makes it easier to talk about other stuff too, like because now I can talk about trans rights, I can talk about LGBTQ rights, because people are like, well, he's like gonna make sure I can get to work like safely and on time and have a house that's not crazy expensive. So he would be good. I just don't know if he has the charisma. We'd have to see it on a primary stage. But other than that, like, I could see Warren running again. Yeah, I don't know how I would feel about it.
None of these people sound like, most of these people don't sound like winners. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think Tim Walz on the stage could be entertaining. I do. I think like a AOC would be entertaining on the stage. I don't know if she wins.
We're still a few years away. I feel like we're still like a couple runs away from AOC really going for the title.
It hurts me to say it, but I don't know if I see her winning. I see a small group of people getting very excited about it, but a sweep across the board, realistically,
yeah.
Not yet, at least.
We're not ready for it.
I think the more likely thing is that she takes over Senate Majority Leader or Senate Democratic Leader from Chuck Schumer here in the next couple cycles.
I want to see AOC. I believe there's a path of, in the future, some point, AOC collecting that Bernie 2016 momentum and really going for it. But again, that's like, we're talking about almost a decade away. Like legitimately like 2 more presidential runs.
I don't know.
When she's doing, like you said, different positions, still building more equity up, but staying progressive with things.
She's already like the Democrats' like 3rd largest.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. But like you said, Austin, is the culture of America really ready for it just yet? Probably not. So building up more equity in general with everybody.
She did do an interesting Instagram poll, though, where she asked her followers, because in her district, she got elected on, like, I think pretty much the same margins as her other elections, but her district swung towards Trump more than it had in 2020. And so she asked, like, people who voted for me but also voted for Trump, like, why? And she had a bunch of people respond, and they all gave her answers and stuff. And most of them boiled down to, like, I feel like you're fighting for change. And I felt like Trump was more for change than Harris was. So there's an interesting dynamic, though, where
the 2 ends of the spectrum are closer to each other than the middle. Or?
Horseshoe theory.
Yeah.
I disagree with horseshoe theory. But
and again, what does that? Again, this is like ultimate Monday morning quarterback, like we talked about before. But again, when we think about the flaws of the Harris campaign, what is the few things that it's bogged down to? She didn't separate herself enough from Biden and present herself as the change candidate. And the change candidate has pretty much won every time for the last 20 years now.
Yeah.
And especially the last 10 years.
Yeah.
The hopeful side of me says that's due to how short her campaign was, that there was not time to go 180 on things, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That is a good debate question. If she had like at least a year instead of like 110 days or some shit it was of a presidential campaign, the shortest in history easily.
Her campaign was they crossed out Joe Biden and wrote in Kamala Harris and Sharpie and shipped it.
They did polls around America already, and like people didn't even realize Joe wasn't running anymore.
Yeah,
It was like the most searched thing on election day.
But the biggest thing is, yes, we'll always have the what if she had like at least a calendar year to be the person, right? At the top of the ticket. How much more effort would the Harris campaign have put in to just completely divorcing themselves from Joe Biden versus just being like, oh yeah, no, we're just hopping off. We're going off of his momentum.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
If she had a full year to campaign, she wouldn't have been president. She would have been primaried, and she would have lost that primary. I think that's the biggest thing, is that if Joe Biden had dropped out a year prior, we would have had a different candidate entirely. And Joe Biden promised to do that in 2020 too.
A lot of people promised to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Project 2025 was just a joke.
Yeah, depressing.
Yeah. How about we let the kids back in to the Thanksgiving dinner and get a little more lighthearted?
Welcome back. Talk about favorite movies.
Oh yeah.
We have a top 10 list of movies and 3 honorable mentions from the rest of us.
Hold on. Let me and Austin, we'll give ours first, and then Jalen can give it off his whole top 10. You didn't want that?
It's Dunbeezy.
Okay. No editing in the podcast. This is raw, unfiltered, uncut. I don't really have necessarily a favorite movie, but I'll just say the one that came to mind when we talked about this topic, and I'll just say The Matrix.
Why?
It would be in my top 10 for sure anyway, but
Are you just saying solid movie, general reasons why most people like it, or do you have a like scene or a approach or
the whole movie? But it influenced like action movies for like the next 10 years afterwards. The like culture, it's influenced culture now in a bad way, but because the red pill, blue pill shit that was all big, yeah, all that stuff. And those people don't understand the movie, but also written by 2 trans siblings, the Wachowski sisters. Yep, I'm right. Okay. I can never remember.
Yep.
And yeah, and there's a lot of like trans allegories in there. But also the just the story itself, the simulation stuff.
yeah?
I just feel like it's solid. It's all around. It hits all the notes to be like classic movie.
Just all around. Okay.
Yeah, it's a classic movie.
My answer for favorite movie changes depending on who asks me. If it's someone my age or older, it's Memento, which is like mind. I don't know. It's a movie that makes you think a whole lot, and it never really gives you a clear answer on what actually happened in the movie. It's just like one of those confusing puzzle. You got to pick apart the different layers of it. I enjoy that side of it. When children ask me my favorite movie, that is not my answer. I'll just like throw out Moana because Moana just goes hard.
Moana's good.
It is special, but I don't think it does anything crazy special. It's just overall a very enjoyable movie.
I gotta ask, have you seen Coco?
Yeah.
Okay. And you say Moana over Coco?
I'm not gonna say one is better than the other.
Coco's better. I'll say it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The messaging of Moana hits me deeper. Of the going out, forging your own path, doing what you want to do, leaving all the doubt and the hate behind, and just sailing out on the open sea.
Seeing how far you'll go.
Yeah.
It's a lot like The Matrix.
Keanu Reeves should have been in Moana.
Oh,
Yeah.
your horseshoe theory comes back around.
But no, Coco is a great movie. Moana, I guess the theme or the message of it hits me deeper, I guess. And maybe the most honest answer, I don't know. For me as a person, the Will Ferrell comedies just hit me like no other. Like
Top 3 Will Ferrell comedies right now since they hit you hard.
Step Brothers, Semi Pro, and Will Ferrell's not in it, but Super Troopers.
I think
I
Step
put it-
Brothers is up there. Step Brothers is number 1. But then I think I would go like the other guys into like Talladega Nights.
I gotta.
probably.
Oh, Talladega Nights. Okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
forgot about that. I've spent time in another country for a significant amount of time, and on the flight back, I watched that movie just to get myself ready to be back in the U.S. That return to culture. Just put that on.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, my favorite genre is like your late night comedy, just dumb humor. I love it.
Yeah. You want to give us that top 10?
First, I have some remarks for both of you.
Okay.
Number 1, and I just want to add this context for the audience that this fucker right over here, this guy flip-flops a decent bit in terms of his favorite movies of all time.
I said that before we started this.
I'm here to call out his bullshit. We sat in this same house several years ago, and I heard this man talk up and down about Whiplash.
I
back in
love
the day.
Whiplash.
Yeah, fucking Whiplash. And then for the last 2 years, when I would call him out and be like, yo, didn't you say Whiplash was your favorite movie of all time? He's like, oh, no, it's No Country for Old Men. You remember
I like
that
No
shit?
Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
I started this with I don't really have a favorite movie. Like there's like 10 movies I can
Be
say.
distinct.
It's fluid for me too. I don't have a lifelong. It depends.
You know what? No Country for Old Men is my favorite movie of all time. So is Whiplash. So is The Matrix. So
Sell out.
Yeah, ruining the whole point of the whole top 10 rate. The whole point is it's supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be hard to put one at the top.
well, they're all different movies. So
I don't
No
give
Country
a
for Old Men's top of the like drama. Matrix top action movie. Whiplash top.
Coco top children's movie.
All right, I'm done with that. I wish I could comment on Coco or Moana, but I haven't seen either two.
Disgusting.
What are you doing later?
So the key thing is, like, not to sound like a cliche, but legitimately for the better part of the last 10 years, as I've become an adult, I've felt way less connected to any sort of animated films and stuff like that, minus Toy Story.
Brother Bear?
Nah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Brother Bear was prior, but
He
I just
hasn't
hadn't
seen Spirit.
You haven't
Which
seen
one's Spirit?
The
Airlines?
horse movie.
Oh, the horse movie. I
Airline.
had a different childhood than our Spirit lovers.
It's okay. A lot of people have.
No.
This one over here has a direct issue. He judges you if you haven't seen Spirit.
Yeah.
He's a big Spirit fan. He said he's gonna get a tattoo of a horse on his
What
chest.
about Tarzan?
Oh hell yeah!
Okay.
No, we're
One of the best soundtracks of any movie.
We're
Phil
hav-
Collins.
Yeah, but that's why Brother Bear's so good too, and Spirit.
We're digressing.
No,
We're digressing. No, I'm saying we're having a digression.
no, we're not.
This is deliberately exactly what a digression is.
No.
No, digital animated movies. Well, just the most animated movies of the last 10 years I haven't seen. Haven't really had any like inclination to watch them. One time I sat down to watch Moana. Well, a friend of mine wanted to make me watch Moana. I started falling asleep within first 20 minutes, and then I deliberately tried to get out of that. So, yeah, just not that it's not great or whatever, and these movies aren't iconic in their own way. I haven't put in the effort to have them resonate with me. Nothing against anybody who's seen them. I've seen the last few animated movies I've seen is Zootopia, which I thought was really good, of course. And the last Toy Story movie was one of the greatest experiences of my life in a film.
How deep do you think the messaging behind Zootopia goes? Because some people take it deep, and some people are like, "Oh, fun movie."
I think it's a deep one. I think it's definitely talking about racism and things like that. That's very, very clear. That's very, very obvious, to be honest with you. And I think it was delivered by having it be animals. The messaging was perfect for young ones too, for it to be clear, but also for adults to be like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, we do that. We all do that, don't we? Hidden implicit biases and things like that. But in any case, Zootopia. I saw Frozen one time. But like a lot of people say, it's one of those movies where it's like the soundtrack is so much better than the film that, I mean, it was a nothing movie. It was nothing special in terms of Disney movies, but the soundtrack goes hard. Toy Story 4 was an experience for me. I was very much team Toy Story 3 should be where it ends. We're done. Shut the fuck up. It's over. And as the years went on and there was rumblings of them writing it or gonna do another one, and I'm just thinking it's such a money grab. You had a perfect ending that was set. It's all about money. And that money makes the world go around. So let's bring it back again just to make more money. I didn't think there was any heart behind it.
That is a common theme in the movie industry of like, let's just go back and refilm the one movie that was popular instead of coming up with a new original story and doing something different.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely made for that specific purpose. That being said, the people behind Toy Story gave it as much love and attention as every other, and so I'm so glad that they did, because Toy Story 4 was an experience. I cried of laughter. I cried of happiness at the end of it. That was just is one of the most enjoyable films I've ever seen.
Is it in your top 10?
I think it is.
Okay.
And so
what number are you putting it?
So I've had this conversation a few times with people, and enough times as a film and TV buff, as a cinephile, if you will, that I've ranked my top 10 movies a couple times. Maybe there's been a few shift ups, but mostly I've had the same notes.
You can't change your favorite
That's
movie.
hypocritical.
No, I didn't say you couldn't change it. I didn't say you couldn't change it.
Yeah.
I didn't say you couldn't
Rewind
change
that.
it. I'm saying don't be a flimsy fucker like this one. As Runt once said.
Let's take these goalposts and move them.
As Runt
My
once
favorite
said,
movie changed 2 years ago.
as Runt once said in Chicken Little, which came out I think in like 05, 06, you're a gutless flip flopper, and I have no less respect for you now.
How about you read off all your top 10 lists, and we'll pick up the discrepancies.
I think I have 3 of them. So
Oh.
so it's actually
You're
kind
a
of
gutless flip flopper.
Oh, and now they're basically all the same.
Get out your
Gutless
swim
flip-flopper.
trunks and your flippy floppies.
Yeah, it kind of changed. All right, so here we'll start with this. All right,
Where's Toy Story 4 at?
hold on. I lost this for a minute. All right, the first one from like years. This is from 2022 when I first did this.
Are we going through 3 separate top 10 lists?
Just do one.
They're all the
Just
same.
do
They're
one.
just kind
Just
of
do one.
Where's
they're
Toy Story
mismatched.
4 at?
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right. So April 26th, 2022. Oh, I just had a list, but I didn't rank them. We don't need to go over that one, then. I didn't rank them. I'm
just
ranking
do one.
them.
Just do one.
All right. April 26th. Oh, it's from the same day. Then I ranked them. Okay. So, I don't want you to see it. Number 10, Rocky. Hell yeah. No disputes. One of the greatest movies of all time. Greatest sports movie of all time. Obviously iconic. I don't need to.
You're talking OG Rocky,
Yeah.
number 1? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I just have it as Adrian. Yep. Anyway. Number 9, Scream. Number 8. Oh, Back to the Future. Number 7, Tarzan.
Okay.
Number 6, Spider-Man 1.
These are old movies.
Hell yeah. Now here's where it gets controversial. Number 5, This Is 40. Love that movie.
We're getting into your rom-com, dare I say, middle-aged white woman movies.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's funny that you said that because number 4, Crazy Stupid Love. Hell yeah.
This man held me at gunpoint and made me watch this movie.
It was a good ass time too. The amount of people I've suggested
Held against their will.
to watch Crazy Stupid Love are a lot. So much so that it just comes up in conversation again with people and they're like, yeah, no, we saw it. We watched it that one time. Made a girlfriend of mine watch it. We had a
That
great
sounds
time.
like a very positive reaction.
Anyway, number 3, High School Musical 3.
3. Why are you going
Hell yeah.
3 over the first 2?
Because 3.
Okay.
Because 3. It has. Listen,
It is objectively the best one.
the pre out the window
Unless you're
pod,
2 and 1 or the other ones.
the pre out the window podcast we could have when we watched those movies was a good time, and I think we came out of it all with the consensus that 3 goes hard. Scream, everybody, the Scream song.
I'll be honest, it was all kind of a blur to me.
Anyway, don't do drugs. Number 2, The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh.
Yeah. And then
I agree with that being somewhere on the list. Like if you're it's somewhere, that's a high place for it.
and then number 1, Avengers Endgame, because I'm a basic bitch.
What the fuck is your top 10 list?
That's a good list right
How do you
there.
have-
It feels arbitrary.
How
It's
do you have
different
Dark
genres.
Knight Rises on there and not The Dark Knight?
I enjoyed it more.
That's disgusting. That's foul.
You gotta clean it.
I get this little paper towel.
Give it
That
to
was
me.
from you.
Oh, nice. Crotch paper towel.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, it's a good ass list. It's multicultural. It's different genres. It hits all the feels.
What by multicultural you mean all from the United States?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, we are the melting pot, of course.
All right. So you have Scream on there.
Hell yeah.
This is personal preference, but I would never put a horror movie on my top 10. I feel like a lot of horror movies don't do much.
Yeah.
Horror movies almost need their own separate like ranking, because I agree.
And-
I actually like a lot of horror movies, but it would be hard for me to put one in my top 10.
Unless you're talking like psychological thriller or like a sci-fi leaning one with a lot of world building.
So for me, I'll stick up for horror movies in this way, right? Every genre of anything, whether it be movies, TV, film, like they have their own spaces to exist, but also they all come together in the greater whole and stuff. Some things resonate more, some things resonate less, right? Sometimes horror movies are put into this niche realm, but that doesn't mean there's not legitimately awe-inspiring quality there. And even though I didn't live out the experiences of the first Scream movie and everything else, I know the significance, historically for film that it had in terms of the slasher flick just being completely out of style, completely passe, and just a lot of horror movie tropes in general kind of being, bygone era. But in 1996, Wes Craven, horror movie legend, writer, director, and all of that stuff, of plenty of them, he brought it back. And Scream was like an original Deadpool in a way, because literally every Scream movie does this, but in the first one, obviously, it was the most kind of like, notorious and out there, as they acknowledged and they fully said on camera just all the different cliches of horror movies, while also trying to have a serious horror movie like that tells a real story and has something behind that.
I respect that approach.
I mean, and that for its time, it did exactly what Deadpool 1 did in 2016. Like, here, I'm going to call on all the tropes of these films and everything else, and I'm going to do it in an original way. So it brought the slasher flick back. It added a new one to the lexicon, to all the iconographies with Ghostface. And obviously, it's been a long-lasting franchise now for the last 28 years, and really has never had a truly stinker of a film. They are all at least decent quality.
I gotta say, Toy Story 4 is not on this list anywhere.
I know, it's wild, right? What is?
I'll say Toy Story 3, at least better than Tarzan.
Whoa.
Oh,
Hey.
Whoa.
Soundtrack's obviously better
Whoa.
than Tarzan, but Toy Story 3 is a better movie than Tarzan.
Whoa. Okay. No.
Yeah, I'm not with you on that one.
Hell no. No. Tarzan, the coming of age story of a man in a loincloth
Yep.
raised by apes.
Apes.
Okay, his father never loved him. His adopted father never loved him.
I need some Planet of the Apes movies in my top 10. It just reminded me.
Are you? I don't even want to ask. Are you putting Planet Apes above Tarzan?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is above Tarzan. Tarzan wouldn't be in my top 10 for one.
Oh.
Like, not even close. Probably not top 50.
Okay, all right.
That puts a bad taste in my mouth.
It's a good movie, but...
It's a damn good movie.
Yeah.
You hate Phil Collins?
No. But all those
He killed a leopard in that film.
All those
bare hands.
All those Disney movies from like that era just wouldn't be near my top list.
All right, hold on. We are, just to be clear, for the audience context, we're millennials. We're the youngest version of millennials. We're like on the last stitch of it before we're just straight Zoomers. So you could call us old Gen Z or young millennials. In any case, what I'm getting at is this is our era of time. This is our childhood. That's fucking sacrilege.
That might have been the most divisive thing you've said today.
Might have been.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. It's just Tarzan.
There is no such thing as just Tarzan.
Is Toy Story 3 better than Toy Story 4? In my opinion, it is. Toy Story 3 is the best one.
Ooh, Toy Story 1 was...
Toy Story 1's good.
Yeah.
But Toy Story 3 is the best.
I had more intense feelings with Toy Story 4 because I was more emotionally invested, you know, being a grown man, having grown up with the story. Same thing with Toy Story 3. I feel like those movies deliberately hit at the older audience on purpose, right? And they had different approaches to it. Like Toy Story 3 was deliberately about us. Like, oh, we're all grown up now. We don't need toys anymore, right? Time for a new generation. Toy Story 4 was literally a more specific story about Woody's happiness, the titular character of like, it's time for Woody to move on and find his own way and have happiness because all he's done is give to everybody in the whole family.
Yeah.
They're both, I think I consider them all equal,
Oh.
except for one. I think one goes above.
So not equal.
I meant like Toy Story 3 and 4, you know.
But 2's the worst?
2 is sadly the worst,
Okay.
but it's still great.
Interesting.
Monsters, Inc., though.
Not anywhere near a top 10 list.
I recognize Monsters, Inc. Me personally, I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm not saying it's a standout.
Wouldn't be top 75 on my list.
I do like Monsters, Inc., but
I like it. Nowhere near a top 10 list.
The comedic chemistry of John Goodman and Billy Crystal, shout outs to John Goodman and Billy Crystal, were on full display in that film. They carried that shit. And then you had goddamn Boo, that like the most adorable fictional child that's ever lived.
Mike Wazowski.
Mike was that kitty. I mean, so many quotable lines too.
Yeah.
I still yell just 2319 and expect somebody to get jumped by a group of people.
It's a good movie.
All right, I'm hitting you guys with a curveball.
Okay.
Favorite old-timey swear words. I saw Smithereens recently and fell back in love with blown to smithereens.
I gotta think.
What's your G. Willikers, your...
Old-timey swear words.
Or like your replacement swear words.
I took it as swear words you just can't like
say anymore.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
No. Oh, more like replacement swears, like your substitutes.
I say a few, but I can't.
Your oh shucks.
The only one I ever say is like darn. That's the only
Just a
one.
good-hearted, like full-on darn.
Yeah.
I say a few old timey words, but I just can't think of them in the moment right now. Especially not as replacement curse words right now. I got a few though.
I like all of the like rascal shenanigans, rapscallion. All of those go hard, and I don't think we have new words that fully replace them.
To lean into my initial thought, bastard.
Bastard is a good one.
Yeah.
What's
because
the
nobody says it anymore.
I say
But God,
bastard.
You know what's a solid
fits
one?
So good.
Dingus.
Dingus?
Dingus. Call someone a dingus sometime.
That's like a good coach one.
Yep.
Yell at your athletes.
Mm-hmm.
there was a child with autism I was working with a couple years ago.
Where is this going?
Low functioning autism. He great kid. I think one time I like dropped something in front of him. He's like, "Yeah, you're a dingus." And I was like, "Okay, well then you're a dodo bird." And then from that point on, I was like, "We're dingus and dodo bird." He's like, "Don't say that."
Should have called him a bastard.
I would have gotten in trouble for that.
Would have got your point across better though.
He doesn't remember it now though. Every now and then I'll still see him. I'll be like, "Hey man, dingus and dodo bird." And he's like, "No." He never liked it. He was ashamed of me for even getting it started.
Yeah.
Love that kid.
Yeah.
Well, this is out the window.
Well,
This was out the window.
well, just to be clear, I think you guys should line out a full top 10. Because you mentioned Memento, and shockingly enough, as the cinephile of the group, well, actually, I mean, you watch a decent bit of films too. One of the two cinephiles, I actually haven't seen Memento, and I know that kind of got Christopher Nolan in the door in terms of.
One day we'll sit down and watch it 3 times back to back, because after you finish it the first time, you have more questions than answers. And every other time you watch it after that.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see mine and CamCam's full 10 top movie playlist, hit a like. If we hit 347, we will release those.
Yep. No, otherwise, leave a like.
Adrian,
Leave a like, comment, subscribe.
smash that like button, hit subscribe, click the bell as well. Leave a comment, that really helps. Or the algorithm, and so more people can see us and things like that. Continue to tune in,
Other than that, be kind to yourself, treat yourself, and be safe out there.
What's up is down, what's right is left, but there's always fun times ahead.
Out the window.
Peace.
Yeet.